Hi all, in this video I will be explaining you about Spring Boot Actuator. So the key point to cover in this video are what is Actuator and why it is required. I will create a sample Spring Boot project and I will explain you with a live demonstration, and I will explain you the application properties file where the configuration should be needed for the Actuator, and I will also expose a few of the endpoints provided by the Actuator, and lastly I will create a user bean entity to understand the internal working of it. So let's get started. So before moving ahead with the video, I will request you please subscribe to the channel to get the videos on Spring Boot microservices, REST API and the Java. So let's get started. So why is Actuator and why it is required? So in the real-time application, while we are developing any application, it is mandatory to monitor the application after it being deployed on the production. So here in Spring Boot, Actuator is one of the dependency whose work is to monitor the applications like the health or number of beans created, matrices, and many other things. Let's create a Spring Boot project to understand the live demonstration. So I will open Spring Initializer. The language required, I will be using Java and as a Maven project 334, and I will use metadata as form.div, artifact as actuator, and description as actuator actuator demo project, and the jar package and Java 17 I will be using. The dependency required, so one of the required dependencies the Spring Web for making any RESTful web services. Other dependency that will be using Actuator, Actuator Actuator. So if we check that this is support a lot of endpoint that to monitor and manage your application, such as health, matrix, session, and lot of things that we will be covering. And as I said, I will be using user identity class to understand the user bean concept. So I will be using Lombok for getter setter things. Then I will generate this project and I'll open on IntelliJ. So this Actuator project, I have opened it, and I will open the pom.xml file, and we'll see that starter actuator dependencies there, and I will open that applications file, and before that I will add as a Maven project. So I let it resolve all the dependencies and import it to our locals. So a required package has been imported. So I will first open this application.properties file. There's nothing is there. We'll run the application and we will see by default what are the endpoint that is exposed by Actuator. So application is started successfully. Then if we check that there is a endpoint link resolver where it is saying that exposing one endpoint beneath the base path actuator. So to access the actuator, the base path they have provided actuator, we can access this with 8080 port. So I will open the Chrome and I will type localhost 8080 actuator. So to get this pre-formatted JSON, you can add a JSON formatter Chrome extension. So by default, these three IDs are being exposed. So let's open the first actuator/health. I'll open actuator/health. So it will be showing the status of the application. So to get what are the endpoints that is provided by the actuator, you can read the official documentation. So if you go to an endpoint, you can get all the endpoint that is provided by the application. So to like expose those application or to include or exclude the IDs, we can have application.properties file. Here we need to edit. So for example, if we want to edit the base URI, like actuator is there, endpoint is there, we want to change it with something like /admin, then those configuration we can write it on application their properties file. To change this, we have management.endpoint.web.basepath, management.endpoint.web.basepath. I can make it as anything. I'll make it as admin only. And spelling is wrong. So I rerun the application and we'll see whether we are able to access with the path as admin or not. So as it saying that one endpoint has been exposed with admin, so I will go to this and I will use as admin endpoint, and we can see that we are able to access with admin. So only as we have only this 2-3 endpoint has been exposed. So if we want to expose the other IDs or other endpoints like sessions, health, beans, so there is a one key value is there. We need to write as management dot endpoints dot exposure dot includes. So I write that manage. So the endpoint will be management dot endpoint dot web dot exposure dot include. Like I have included matrix and info. So if we want to include like every endpoint, then you need to use includes equal to star. So by default, all things will be enabled as false. Enable will be false, and uh, to enable it, you need to mention it equal to true. So I am enabling matrix with equal to true. And to exclude any specific endpoint, you can mention as exclude equal to info, and I am excluding this info information. Now I will be creating a user defined bean class, and I will show the working of that. Let me create a class called user. So I will stop the application. Now I have created the user entity. I have annotated with data for getter setter method, and I have annotated with record argument constructor, so that it is used to generate zero argument constructor, and I have used lombok for that, and I have used component annotation so that this bean automatically get registered in the Spring application context. So use that. I will be creating an user controller class. So I have added the REST controller annotation and the request mapping that will start as user as an base endpoint, and I have auto add that user bean, and I have created one simple get mapping that will return the user. So let start the application. So the application is started. If we see that the exposing on actuator path. So actuator path, it is showing this 3 endpoint only. So let's go to this application, this properties file. Okay, we have just committed this include as star. So that's why here only it is showing one endpoint is exposed. So I will comment this, uncomment this out, and I will restart the application. Application is started. Now we can see that exposing 13 endpoint with base URL as actuator it is showing. So I will go to this actuator endpoint, and I will refresh this page. So on refreshing, so we have exposed a lot of beans, cache, health, configuration environment, loggers, a lot of thing is there. So I will check first beans, actuator slash beans, and by default, the Spring Boot provide lot of beans. Then we can quote all those information in here only. Endpoint auto configuration, thread pull track executor, all the things we can get. But we have used one user defined, we have created one user endpoint on controller class. We can see that also user controller scope type response and dependencies. So it is there. And if we expose few of the endpoints, like we have config pros, we have environment, and if we check that environment endpoints, server.port, system properties, those details you can explore everything one by one. And in the matrix, if we check the matrix, we have this all the details matrix name, and if we check the details like process CPU uses, we can copy this ID, and we need to go this matrices. Input will be matrices slash name process CPU uses. On doing that, we will get all the information related to CPU uses. So the recent CPU uses for the Java virtual machine, static value, all the information you will get. So you can read the official documentation where all the details regarding like enabling endpoints and exposing endpoints, the health information, and if we want to configure any Kubernetes port, those things also will be there. But make sure that whenever you are exposing or setting on management.endpoint.web includes, ensure that all the actuator do not contain any sensitive information. Otherwise, you need to make secure by something like Spring security. So thank you for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel.